I just say I felt every single one of those 700 days, honestly. I said however long I've been out, I felt every single one of those days. So getting back in shape and everything was definitely needed to feel that today. It is what it is. You know, I can't control what the fans do and what their, how they approach whenever I step on the field. My job is to go out there and execute and do my best as I can for the team.
Deshaun Watson, after the 27-14 win that really wasn't a direct result of high-end performance by him, first regular season game in 700 days. And I don't care how hard you work out, how many times you practice, and he's been back at practice for several weeks now. You have to be in a game at full speed, and it was the first time since the last week of the 2020 season that we saw Deshaun Watson. And Myles, you're the Browns fan. I don't know how conflicted Browns fans are. Some seem to be completely unbothered by Deshaun Watson being the team's quarterback. That issue is not going to go away. Every time they have a road game, the booing is going to be there. It's just going to be part of it. He's tried to just shrug it off as, well, you're the road team. That's what happens. No. It's not. It's not because you're the road team. It's not because it's a rivalry. It's because there's a guy who has allegedly done some vile things, who served a suspension for them. And the last we heard from him on it, he says, I maintain my innocence. And now he won't talk about it at all. So that's why the booing's going to happen. That's why it's going to continue to be a focal point until, and I don't know. Do we want him to be publicly shamed? I don't know what people want, but they want more than what they've gotten, because there has been no public display of remorse by Deshaun Watson at all for the 20-plus civil lawsuits that he has settled, the 11-game suspension that he agreed to, the $5 million fine that he agreed to pay. It makes it very hard to say I didn't do anything wrong when you check all those boxes, Myles.
Well, and you were found by the independent arbitrator that's appointed by the NFL and the NFLPA to have done some of the things that you were accused of doing, right, when it comes to sexual misconduct and assault. So I don't know that it's booing because you're the opposing team. Certainly that doesn't necessarily need to be the case. But I mean, in Houston, where we sort of thought, well, maybe this will be some sort of spectacle, it didn't end up being that at all. I mean, that was a half-empty NRG stadium, and a lot of the people who ended up being in there were Browns fans. And there were some clips I saw on social media of Deshaun Watson walking off the field to cheers because those were the Browns fans that were there. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, in terms of his on-field play, he was bad and he was not good. So that's what I expected after him not playing, as we've been saying, for 700 days. I mean, 12 of 22 for 131 yards. This is the one interception he threw right there in the middle of the end zone. Just didn't see the safety at all who's playing in the middle of the field, and I don't know who he's throwing to there. So, look, I mean, this is a move that the Browns made, not just for 2022, but for, you'd like to think for them as an organization, the next 10 years, right? This is the franchise quarterback that the Browns have not really had since Bernie Kosar. And there's been a lot of guys who have come in and gone from that building that have not been able to be that. So, I mean, people were right out of Cleveland like, oh, man, Deshaun Watson's got to improve quickly for the Browns to have chances. The Browns season has been shot since he agreed to the 11-game suspension. So I don't really know what everybody's expecting, but this, to me, has always been the lost year for the Browns. Can Deshaun Watson get himself to playing at least a mediocre level so he can go into the offseason with some positive energy? That, to me, is what the Browns have to figure out over these last few games.
And it really is a strange situation overall. He won't talk about any of the non-football matters on advice of lawyers and clinical experts. But when we heard from him on August the 18th, the day that he agreed to the 11-game suspension, he said, I maintain my innocence. And his agent, David Mulugheta, had deleted a tweet, but posted the tweet attacking the ruling by Judge Sue L. Robinson, the one that found that he had engaged in these behaviors. And he basically lied when he said, I didn't do anything wrong. She didn't use words that strong, but when you read the written document with her reasoning in it, that's the necessary conclusion. He testified. He told a story that she believes wasn't the truth. And all we know is August 18, I stand on my innocence. Now I won't talk about it. And back in August, when this all happened, Shefty said he has to comply with evaluation and treatment recommendations. And reinstatement is contingent upon compliance with the treatment plan. So yesterday we get this vague story from Shefty that he's shown signs of progress in treatment with no details as to what they expect him to do, what he has done, has he shown remorse, has he accepted responsibility, nothing other than he's showing signs of progress. Well, what does that do to shed light on any of this? What does that do other than make Deshaun Watson look good at a time when he's done nothing to show us publicly that he understands the bad things that were done? I just think that question is going to linger. The criticism is going to linger. And I don't know what makes it right, but at some point, if he would stand up and say, I understand what I did. I understand it was wrong. I've learned. I've grown. I'm sorry. And I ask for your forgiveness and a second chance. Until he does that, I don't think anything's going to change. I don't think the vibe is going to change about Deshaun Watson. Because I think that he just views everything that he's gone through as cost of doing business. I just have to do it. I just had to do it. I had to settle these cases. I just had to do it. I had to accept this suspension because if I didn't, it was going to be worse. I just had to do it. I still don't think I did anything wrong, but I just went along with it because it was the only way I was going to get back onto a football field. Now I'm back on a football field and none of that stuff matters.
Right. There's been no contrition. And, I don't know if this still affects it or not, but there are active lawsuits still against him from the women who have not settled with him yet. So perhaps that has something to do with it. I don't necessarily think that it does.
No, the lawsuits were pending when he talked about it. When he talked about it back in August, he didn't say, I'm not going to talk about this because there's pending litigation. The moment that he wasn't indicted, that's when he started talking about it. He should have said from then, I've still got pending legal issues. I'm not talking about it at all.
True. Yes. And that's not what he's done. So I don't know. I mean, obviously the Browns want to move on to football stuff, and there are going to be more football games to play. Next week they play Cincinnati, and that's a team that the Browns have done very well against since Kevin Stefanski has been there. So we'll see how that works. But again, I mean, this is going to be, at least in terms of the on-field stuff, an acclimation period for Deshaun Watson to try to gain some positive rhythm and positive momentum heading into the offseason. And if he plays well against Cincinnati, man, that's going to be something that Browns fans, I guess, can feel good about.
And, there is reason for Browns fans to be optimistic. I mean, the Chiefs own the Bills, the Bengals own the Chiefs, the Browns own the Bengals.
I do.
There's got to be some way that the Browns turn that into a positive. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.